Today, we will be discussing how to print your battle maps with a square grid to scale. The question of how to print maps to scale comes up a lot in Inkarnate Spaces. While there are several ways to go about doing this, I will show you two of the most common ways to make it happen. First, we need to address the size of a standard grid square. When playing most TTRPGs, a standard battle map grid square would typically be 1 inch by 1 inch. Knowing this will make your next steps make more sense. It is also important information whether you are creating your map based on the size in which you want to print, or if you have an existing battle map that you're trying to turn into a printed map for your tabletop. Let's get into it. In our first scenario, let's say you're going into your project knowing what size paper you're printing on. This may be a standard size printer paper or a stock poster size from a local retailer or printer. Many common retailers sell posters ranging from 11 by 14 inches to 24 by 36 inches via their photo centers. Choosing the size of your print at the start makes things pretty easy. For instance, if I go into my project with the intent of printing on a 24 by 36 poster, and that width is split into 1 inch grid squares, my grid would be 24 by 36. To set the size of your grid, choose your battle map style and select the custom option. Use the fields for columns and rows to type in 24 and 36. When printing on a standard paper size, such as A4 or letter, things get only slightly trickier, as these sizes don't come in exact inch measurements. For instance, A4 paper is 11.7 inches by 8.3 inches. For these, you may need to fudge your numbers just a little. If I were to print on 11.7 by 8.3 inch paper, I would round down to the nearest inch to determine my grid, making this one 11 by 8. Printing with zero margins would mean that my grid squares might be ever so slightly bigger than 1 inch, but it wouldn't be game-breaking. It's barely noticeable splitting that 0.3 inch by 8 grid squares, and your miniatures will still fit nicely. So what happens if you have a map you've already made and now you want to print? Many professional printers will be able to print in custom sizes, though prices may vary. To determine what dimensions to have them print, you simply need to give your local printer the dimensions of your grid. If you have a map that is 30 by 40 grid squares and each square is equal to 1 inch, your map would be 30 by 40 inches. If you're printing at home, you may need to break your map into smaller printable pieces. In my house, we have letter-sized paper, which measures 8.5 by 11 inches for printing. My preferred method is to use the resize tool in Inkarnate to section off my map into pieces that measure 8 by 11 grid squares. Resizing allows me to save a section of my map as its own file, while keeping the original file intact. Once I have my 8 by 11 sections, I will make sure my margin settings are set to 0 for printing, so my 11-inch side prints edge to edge with no white space. Then we print out our papers, tape them together, and we have a complete map. Now you know several different methods to print your maps for tabletop use. Drop a comment if this has been helpful today, or if you have an idea for a future video you'd like us to cover. For more tutorials, Inkarnate tricks, or time lapses, be sure to like and subscribe.